I've always been attracted to the activity of hiking in the outdoors, in forests and mountains. And when I was 12 years old in 1956, I was reading a copy of Sports Illustrated, and there was an article about a program that was started in England called Outward Bound. And this was at that point only about maybe 8 years old. And what Outward Bound was at that time, and it still is, it's a remarkably consistent course over the last 60 years that they do exactly the same thing now as they did when they were first started right after the Second World War. And what Outward Bound was and is a very simple program of taking groups of young people and putting them into physically challenging situations which require individual determination and persistence, and requires teamwork with other young people that you're with in the group. And I was very attracted to this. I read this article, and I cut the article out, and I had a scrapbook, and I said, as soon as I'm able to, I'm going to go to this Outward Bound program. So I was 12 years old, and I couldn't do it then. And they wouldn't have taken me at 12 years old because it was generally 16 years old or 18 years old. But when I was 20, I had just completed 2 years of university, and I was really tired because I both worked and went to college at the same time. I was in Washington, D.C., and I got tired of both working and going to school. And I dropped out a year, and I decided to go traveling, and out came my article from 1956. I rode away. I was accepted by Outward Bound. I had saved up enough money. I flew to England. It was early November of 1964, and started the Outward Bound School, which was 26 days. And it consisted of climbing in 2 mountain ranges in Scotland, the Strathfarers and the Cairngorms, and also sailing on the North Sea in a schooner. And so I went there and really threw myself into it. I wasn't the most physically fit, and I wasn't the strongest, but I did everything. I threw myself into everything. And at the end of the course, they gave a medal for the top student in that particular course, and I won it. And so it surprised me, but I won the course. I won the best student, and that earned you dinner out on the last night with the head of the school, who was called a Warden, interesting name. And then I had my own guide who had been with me all through the 26 days. And then there was another person who was actually a ship's captain. He was the schooner. I remember his name was Jackson, and he had sailed that particular schooner around the world with only 1 or 2 other people. And so we went out, and the warden said, we knew even before you showed up on the first day that you were going to be the top student. And I said, well, how did you know that? And he said, well, you're the only person who actually chose to be here, and you're the only person who actually paid your own way to be here. And he said everybody else was sent by a corporation or was sent actually by the legal system, because they had individuals there who had had scraps with the law. And they were given a chance to straighten themselves out with Outward Bound, or they were going to go to school, if you can imagine what the school is that they were going to send them to. So this was part of management training in large corporations in Great Britain. But I was the only person there who had just freely chosen to be there, had written away, had set the whole thing up, paid my way over to the UK, and then actually paid for my Outward Bound. And he said, we knew right off the bat that you had to get the most out of it than anyone else here, because you were totally committed to doing this. And he said, and just remember that for life. He said, if you want to get maximum value out of anything and actually achieve the most results, always be the person who totally chooses and always be the person who pays his own way. Don't expect other people to set things up in your life, and don't expect other people to pay your way. It's kind of interesting. There are many things about Outward Bound that I still think about all the time. Without question, it was the single most, what I would say, formational, educational experience of my life. If you took away all my experiences in life that I've learned from, and then just let me have one, it would be the trip to the UK in 1964 and attending Outward Bound. That would be the one that I would hold on to. And a lot of strategic coach is actually framed out of the mindsets that underlay Outward Bound, and the challenging yourself, and always, when you think you can't go any further, you go further. But the two big ones are just the two comments that the Warden made, and that is, be the one who totally chooses your experience, and then be the one who totally pays for yourself to be in that experience. And pretty good directions in every situation in life, regardless of what age you're in. Pay for yourself and make sure it's your choice.